I want to talk about something that Dave said a few weeks ago on our bust-proof episode, and something that Heath disagreed with when I brought it up again last week. Dave said that he thought Jalen Hurts had the highest floor of any quarterback. Do you remember saying that, Dave? Do you stand by that? I believe your argument was he had more weapons than Allen and Mahomes, and he has a higher rushing floor. Heath did not agree because his name is not Mahomes. So
I get it.
Still believe that Jalen Hurts has the highest floor of any quarterback.
We have seen Mahomes fall below 25 fantasy points per game in half of his last 4 seasons. And I mean, Jalen Hurts did too. I mean, we're basing Hurts off of one amazing year where he could have been the MVP. The year before that, he was at 22 fantasy points per game. I think that Philadelphia is the one team where they look at their quarterback running and they say, "Oh yeah, we want more of that. We're not going to try and limit that." And their actions even they said Miles Sanders can hit the road. His 11 touchdowns are gone. They've replaced him with DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny, and they're keeping Kenneth Gainwell. If they wanted to try and run the football more, I think they would have dedicated more resources to that. And because they didn't, that tells me that they're very, very comfortable with letting Jalen Hurts run it just as much this coming year as he did the previous year. And they love what he can do when they're bellied up to the goal line as well. And then I think about their defense. 2 new starting linebackers, 2 new starting safeties, a lot of youth on that defensive line, a lot of youth on that defense overall. I wonder if maybe the defense won't be quite as good as it was last year, paired with the first place schedule that Philadelphia has. And maybe it means more competitive games, which means more opportunities for Jalen Hurts to rack up yards on the ground, through the air, lots of touchdowns. I'm good with saying that he's got the safest floor of any of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, I just think like this argument would make more sense to me if Jalen Hurts did what he did last year twice. Because we saw it with Lamar after he had that spike year. We even saw it with Mahomes after he had his spike year. We saw it with Josh Allen after he had his spike year. I'm expecting that Jalen Hurts is going to come back to earth a little bit in some of the ways that he took a big leap last year. I think you look at the 13 rushing touchdowns in 15 games. I think there's probably a significant drop off there in the number of rushing touchdowns that he throws. I think you look at he made a pretty big leap to 8 yards per pass attempt as a passer. We saw Lamar make that type of leap. I think he probably comes back a little bit in the passing efficiency as well. So I think his floor is more removed from what he did last year than Dave seems to think.
How many passes per game do you have him projected for?
Well, I can tell you I have him projected for 533 passes, and he threw 460 in 15.
Yeah.
In 15
so
games.
You're giving him 70 more pass attempts.
Well, I think he's going to play 2 more games.
Yeah, okay. That's higher numbers. I'm good with all that stuff. So even if its efficiency drops a little bit and he's not the machine that he was last year, I think he still comes through. Okay. I love taking him as the second quarterback off the board. I'm good with that. And if I can get him as the third quarterback off the board, it feels like I'm ripping off the rest of the league.
The funny thing about that is with the way that our drafts go, it doesn't seem like you get a whole lot of choice. From the time that one of those guys goes, it's like 4 picks and they're all gone.
And I think that will happen in like every draft, every home league, regardless of when the first quarterback goes. It's like an alarm goes off when one of the managers decides, all right, I'm going to be the first to take a quarterback. The managers picking right behind him are going to say, well, this is it. This is when I've got to go and get one of those other quarterbacks too. I think you're going to see that in like every single league this year.
The only time that you're going to be able to choose, I think, between the 3 of them, Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, is if you have the 3rd overall pick and you get to the 2nd round and none of them are gone. Mm-hmm. And then you can just say, okay, I'm going to not take a quarterback here. And then with, the next 2 players, the next 2 managers are going to take either none of them or both of them. And I'll have one of the 3 remaining, with my next pick. But that's really like the only time that's going to happen, I think.